Hello, welcome back to another day in the arena. It's me, it's CGB. Today, we are playing a super crazy white aggro strategy designed to get out there, get under the opponent, get him dead as quick as possible. I found this list floating around from some Magic Online leagues. It did go 5-0. It's early in the season, so it's really hard to tell if a 5-0 winner on Magic Online is first or second tier. I have to believe in the long run that this can't be a top tier deck, because if it got popular enough, there'd be too much Goblin, Chain Whirler, Plague Mare, Golden Demise for it to succeed. However, when the format is young and early, people aren't always ready to take these kind of things on, and I want to see how resilient it is. I only made a small handful of changes, some, sweetened to flavor. I cut like a Knight of Grace, I think, for Legion's Landing, but there wasn't too much to change with the deck, so I can't take too much credit for it. But I'm excited to just see what it does, what this super low to the ground approach does. So what do we got? 19 1-drops. 19 of them. Holy cow. So the idea isn't to go 1-drop, 2-drop. This deck wants to go 1-drop, 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 then play either Benalish Marshal, History of Benalia, or Venerated Loxodon on turn 3, and smash opponent from there. Even using Snubhorn Sentry, good old Snubs, to get that Ascension and have a 3/3 body, while also giving you something to convoke with for the Loxodon or the Conclave Tribunal in the early game. So the power cards, really, you just need anything early to get some damage through and get your board presence. Then your power cards, History of Benalia, which can give you resiliency against sweepers and give you some night bonus. Pride of the Conquerors, which of course can anthem out the creatures. But this card, Conclave Tribunal, usually when you draw a couple of these, the opponent just can't match you trying to play like something bigger than the rest of your permanents. Blocking is bad as it is, but if you can convoke one of these out while like playing 2 more threats and this on the same turn, what are they gonna do? So without further ado, let's get into a constructed event. And we'll play it in a sort of, at least for Arena, the competitive format for best of 1. Which to me is still, for those of you new to the channel, got 1,000 new subs. More than that. We have over 1,000 people coming to hang out in the last month. So if you're new around here, I love playing best of 1. I think it's a great way to play Magic, to get new opponents, different matchups every time. That's what I really enjoy. So that's what I do. And I try to focus, at least when it's appropriate, when there are ways to build towards best of 1 in your deck building, I try to do that. Most of the lists, including this one that we pull from the internet, if you do any kind of net decking, are created with a best of 3 in mind. That does have influence sometimes, so I think it's good to at least be the guy out there looking out for best of 1. Trying to see everything through the best of 1 lens. This hand is already interesting. We've got a turn 1, now we have a turn 2. We don't want to draw any more land. Could be bad, yo. Let's play second planes. Send in this little dork. So if our opponent has a syncopate, that's bad, but I don't think we can slow down, and I think playing snubs would be too much of a slowdown. We've got to make him deal with everything. And there is a hold-up right here, which makes me think something's about to die. What will it be? This is really a hand where you needed, against the Jeskai deck, you needed a 1-drop, 1-drop, so that we still made board presence on this crucial second turn. Unfortunately, it's not the way the draw lined up. Alright, let's go get him. History of Benalia is likely to get countered, but that's what we're going with in case it's an Essence Scatter that our opponent is holding. Yep, and opponent is here to poop on our fun today. Well, that's control for you. We're still, of course, going to force them into dealing with every possible card out of our deck. They kept on top, which is never what you want to see, but it wasn't a land, which means it's probably another counterspell. Which, I think I want to make them waste their mana. Of course, we could put out snubs, and if the opponent counters it, we can play the Benalish Marshal. which possibly should have been the line before combat. I just think that they're going to let this resolve. And they do. So now I want them to waste their mana, so I'm going to pass the turn. They don't appear to have a bolt or a seal away. They seem to be all counter spells. So we need to find ways to make them use their mana less efficiently. I don't really want either of these to get countered. So continuing to just force them to spend mana and then trying to make them go through their next turn, and maybe we can resolve one of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3. Alright, the Foundries keep coming out tapped. That implies that they're not in a big hurry to resolve anything. That's an interesting draw. So I could go for Benalia, get that countered, and then play a Marshal, or I could go for a Marshal, get that countered, and play Benalia. Benalia being a 2-for-1 might be the most valuable. The other line is to get out the Loxodon. This is 6, 7, 8, 9. So if we resolve anything, we have a 3-3, which I think means we want to attack. And Loxodon's easy to play as a second turn, as like a second play of a turn. So it can wait. It also gets better as we go. I think I'll try the Benalia first. Get that countered, maybe. Get the Marshal down, get some damage in. The Marshal does provide a very juicy target for removal, though. So I guess I would rather this got countered. Alright, let's go. Let's see what you have. I'm guessing it's another Sabotage. Oh, it is an Essence Scatter with 2 mana still available. That is awkward because it means Syncopate is still available, but Syncopate could counter this or this. So we just gotta do it. And resolves. We wanted to do it before combat for this city's blessing, and we have broken through the counter shields. Now the inevitable Jeskai Control Sweeper. For our next trick, see all our things die. Do. Perhaps there isn't a sweeper since it wasn't snapped off like automatic. And now a lava coil from the opponent. Okay. I think it is time to try to resolve some Loxodon. But before we do that, we should attack with our knight, because it has vigilance. We do want to keep playing into our opponent's counterspells from this position. Because here they could resolve Chemister's Insight, and the longer we can keep them from doing that, the better. And look at the neato shiny. Yes, opponent, I'm sure you're going to counter it. Hopefully you have a Syncopate, though. That would be the most ideal situation for sure. Which is, you know, not something to think about this long, but our opponent's proven that they are a thinker, and that's okay. It is what it is. Good old blue mages. We have a resolution. Interesting. Do I go for the other Loxodon? I think that my opponent has... From that, I definitely think they have Syncopate, so I'm not going to play into that. And I have at least one creature that survives a Clarion. Oh, we're going to talk about Settle the Wreckage, are we? Okay. Well, against Settle the Wreckage, I like to present lethal and make the opponent have the answer. However, in this case specifically, I want to flip my Legion's Landing, so I'm very likely to attack with these. I guess I should save the Loxodon until after in case my opponent has some removal spells, since I need to convoke the things. But I could play the Bodyguard first. No, I think I'll save it all for afterwards, because the Bodyguard I want to protect something that's going to live. Alright, let's get busy. Is wreckage about to be settled? It is. So, let's take that. Let's go get these. If I draw more lands off the top, it'll be Tilt City. Then we'll play you. Resolves, targeting here. If I make one of these, I still can play the Loxodon, so we'll do that. And now we'll pump that crew. Even if our opponent has a card that destroys all of our creatures, we can sack the Bodyguard to protect the Loxodon. And a card like Deafening Clarion won't take care of the elephants. So they're in a bind. They are in a bind. And we have a source of a creature every turn. So the pressure is going to stay on. They need something. A Niv Mizzet would be pretty good. Something to shore up the board. Multiple sweepers would buy time. Wouldn't be a terrible thing. But from the way that my opponents played it so far, I don't think they're sitting on a Cleansing Nova or a Deafening Clarion. In fact, what they're sitting on is interesting. I think they drew that Lava Coil and played it maybe the same turn. I think, oh, well, the Clarion showed up this turn. That's strange. I guess they didn't use it last turn. I don't, they wanted to settle instead. That must be what they were thinking so much about. So we'll sacrifice the Bodyguard for some indestructibility. They do have another, it seems to be instant, but they're not playing it. Could be Seal Away. Anyway, our opponent's at 10. We drew a Plains off the top of frickin' course, because that's what happens when you thin your deck. You draw more land. And we'll pass the turn. Getting ready to activate the Adanto. Well, there, I mentioned Niv, and their Niv is. Oop, their Niv is. I don't know how that's going to get our opponent out of the spot that they're in when they went to 1 life. 2 lands in a row. Unreal. But we got there. Got the job done. The mighty Jeskai control hath fallen in our first game of the day. Holy smokes. Let's go find another. We didn't see Teferi. We didn't see the great villain of Dominaria. But you've got to imagine he was lurking in there. Okay. Being on the draw is never good. But if we draw another 1-drop, the hand is really good. We just need to draw another 1-drop within 2 draw steps. We have 18 of them. No, 17 of them in the deck. What is that going to be? Like 1 and 3? Somewhere between 1 and 3, 1 and 4. Yeah, let's lead here. Since this one can then grant some indestructibility, which might be necessary for attacking through whatever's to come. Sultai. Oh boy. Like this. Let's please not draw any more land. I don't need another flood. Floods are bad. Okay. I mean, we're already more lands than... We're at more lands than spells after this erasure takes one of my bodyguards, or one of my marshals away. I don't think it's that much to think about. Is it? I guess if our opponent has a bunch of removal spells, like Vraska's Contempts, that are more important, it might be more to think about. Like, to take this and not let me have a turn 2 play. But the odds of me drawing one are a lot better than anything else in my deck. Even better than land at this point. There's only 16 lands left in the deck. Alright. And the Surveil, of course, probably required some thought. So that's probably what was taking longer. And let's get him. So fun. Why can't they draw these off the top later in the game when they're absolutely useless? Hopefully they do. Hopefully their next 3 draws after this turn are things like this. I know that only 2 can be thought erasures, but hopefully they play some other Garbo that doesn't affect the board, like Disinformation Campaign. Okay, they were unbelievable. All right. All right, I'm just gonna have to make it all count. Just gotta make it count because, wow. Nasty. Hand was so good. Hand is so gone. It looks like so far, at least to start today, people have gone the full dirtle, looking for, you know, all the surveilling, all the controlling, all the dirtle, which is probably good for the white aggro deck if they're not prepared. Like the best thing that our opponent could do right now is find like Rituals of Soot, and we just make our creature indestructible. The real best thing is probably play a Doom Whisperer. Then we have to top deck a Conclave Tribunal, which we haven't drawn yet in our games today. But if we did, the opponent would be in huge trouble. They're going to bin an Eldest Reborn, not a card that's very good against a deck full of 1-drops. Another Loxodon, huh? Oh my. Do I want to pump this squad further? I think I do. I think I want to do that more than I want to beat down. I think the bigger the better. This is going to be a brute force situation. We're not against Settle the Wreckage, so we get to start crashing in with giant creatures soon. Like I say, a Doom Whisperer would be nasty. Oh. Well, that's fun. That's Destroy, I believe. Destroy all non-artifact creatures. Okay, so our opponent gets absolutely decked in the face, and we get to keep our Vanguard. Or not, yeah, our Leonin Vanguard gets to live. And they're at 2, so they are going to have to find something else. I mean, that's a good one, but being at 2, will it be too much? They have a Thief of Sanity that they're trying to block with. That's not very good. And we're going to reload aggressively. I think I'm going to hold this land if my opponent does draw another Thought Erasure. It's a long shot, but it could happen. Or if they use the Dispersal side of Discovery, I want something to discard. That's probably more likely, that they use Discovery Dispersal. Yep. Scriptures goes off. Our opponent is still at 2. They have a Plague Mare. So they came thinking about this low to the ground matchup. But just too much Thought Erasure. And some good draws off the top. The Loxodons. Loxodons flexing their elephant muscles. I wish I could do a good elephant sound, like a horse sound. The sound the Greenbelt Rampager made every time it entered the battlefield, and you'd have to play it 3 times because it kept bouncing itself. I really liked that sound. I need it on my soundboard, like just a good elephant sound. All right. Well, we finally found you. Yeah, I think this is fine. This is fine. Not sure what we're supposed to do if our opponent mega curves here, but I think I'll play the... yeah, I'm going to play the Vanguard just in case I draw another 1-drop, and I can have it pumped and attacking next turn. But Seal Leaf Champion, the God Draw. The God Draw is here. All right. Let's go with our Knight of the Grace, please. Don't know why we lagged up. There you go. I bet it's a Ferox. It would have to be. Yep. So glad I decided to play Magic today. Let's see. 3 isn't it, but if I go 1, 2... Alright, so we go like this. And this. And we do this. What are we not tapping? probably getting hit by the Ferox, but I guess I can keep my Knight of Grace open to stave off the elf. So we need you, taking out you, because we can't block that. And then we gain a life, which is nice. But yeah, gonna need to top deck Pride of the Conquerors, I think, in this one. Another card we haven't seen today. Well, that's nice. If I take this, I'm dead to the trample from Ghalta. So what do I need? Drawing another Conclave Tribunal would of course be great, but is there a way I win the game if I don't? If I throw away my Knight of Grace here, can I pull this off in any way? In any conceivable way? We're going to gain 2 life next turn. That gets us up to 12. Which means we'd still have to chump the Ghalta. And probably the Ferox. Yeah, I gotta do it. All right. Well, it doesn't seem that there's much to be done. I'll try to get ascending, but we're chump blocking, we're taking a hit from the Ghalta, and attacking into it isn't very good. Even though we'd flip this, we'd just be throwing our creatures away. So I can't do that. So here's a block. Now we could do the gang block. I don't think that's wise here, giving up our whole board. I think we have to hang on to have something. We have to draw a Conclave Tribunal here. Or a Pride of the Conquerors. And it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. A Vine Mare is open. So if we play you... How much power and toughness? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11, 12, 13. And another block. And 5. It's not dead. I can offer that attack. Then if the Vine Mare trades, I can still put everything in front of Ghalta and go to 1. Now we could also do this a group attack and flip the Legion's Landing, but then we'd have, what, 6, 7, 8, 9? We don't have enough to block the Ghalta. Well, we play you. That's 12. Then everybody could block the Ghalta. But the Vine Mare and the Ferox would kill me. Yeah. Gotta do it like that. It's unfortunate that we drew a Knight of Grace, now another 1-drop to play alongside our Marshal. Just hasn't quite been what we needed. All right, the opponent takes that trade. If they also attack with the elf, I'm in a really bad spot. I was putting them on not attacking with the elf. Sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you have to put them on something like that. All right. But yeah, the elf attack could have been lethal. I don't know if the opponent has some kind of an instant here, what the green decks are playing for that these days, but we can't play around it. There's nothing to be done. And then I'm not sure what I even can draw out of the spot. Our board is decimated. The Ferox is a monster. We'll be at 1 life. That's I mean, that gets me another turn. It's not nothing. Even drawing a Tribunal can't target the Ferox unless I have more creatures. So, interesting. Oh, yay, more of them. Up to 2, and draw. That will do it. I think I played that game well. I don't think I played perfectly. The line I could have taken much differently would have been to not stop the Steel Leaf champion. Our opponent's draw was insane. If that deck can't win on that draw, it's not a deck. And there are decks that can beat that draw, don't get me wrong. But on the play from that position, that draw was insane. However, I think if I had saved my Conclave Tribunal for the Ghalta and focused on building a board large enough to block the Steel Leaf champion using the Snubhorn Sentry, the Knights, and the Benalish Marshal, maybe things could have been different. So next time I play against green with this deck, I'm going to try not to use a Tribunal or removal spell on the Steel Leaf, and instead see if I can block the Steel Leaf if I take my time. So that's what I'll try to learn and take away from that one. I'm not sure if it will work, but I know that taking out the Steel Leaf didn't work. So we'll see. We'll see next time. Hey, this is the first time I've gotten to do the draw exactly the way you want it with this deck, which is 1-drop into 1-drop, 1-drop into awesome 3s, like Benalish Marshal. And let's see just how that pays off, or if our opponent's going to be the master of the Golden Demise. Woodland Cemetery. Yep, cast down, sure. Opponent already hitting removal on 2 to disrupt us, but if they don't have if they use their cast down there, perhaps they don't have one for the Marshal, and damage is already coming very quickly. Cast down into cast down, okay. Into Stitcher's Supplier, which it looks like a decent blocker here. Interesting that it's a graveyard deck with so much spot removal. I don't know what we're trying to mill with the Supplier when we're playing all these non-creature cards. So you can, I wonder. We will have to wonder. Oh, what a weird combination. So far, I don't really understand what's going on with the deck. All right. We're at 9. Next turn, this could have flying. If we attack this turn, I imagine the Marshal will get blocked. The Stitcher Supplier will block, and our opponent will take 2. I think it's best to pass the turn. Gain flying, pressure in the air. But what is with the land? Apparently 20 lands is enough to hit your 6th land drop just about every game. Go figure. Here comes Dauntless. And a scoop to the 3/2 flyer and the Dauntless Bodyguard. Cash it in, cash it in. So there you go. We're at 3 wins, 1 loss. If you want to see how the event ends, that's a video I will upload for the Patreon supporters and Twitch subscribers. If you're interested in either of those, getting access to exclusive videos, you can click the links in the description. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.